Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at how to create this employee attrition dashboard that you can see on your screen using Power BI. The features of this dashboard, here we have the slicer. If I select for research and development, for instance, the report is filtered for that. We have the total employee, active employee, attrition rate, average age, and average years at the company. One other feature that is interesting about this report is that I applied drill to Power BI feature. For instance, when I click on attrition by marital status, the married category, you can see the drill through showing, taking me to the employee details page. When I click on that, I get a filtered detail of the employees within the marital married category and their further details. Then I can go back to overview and continue exploring this. When I click on between 0 to 10, I still have the Drito feature. It filters as well for that particular category and I can get more information. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to be doing is to create our backgrounds that we are going to be using in the Power BI reports. We're going to be creating two backgrounds, this one and this second one. So let's start with this. So I'm going to choose a new slide, then insert picture. So I'm going to adjust this background. And you can get this picture from Pexel. I'm going to put the link to the website in the description below. Then I'll crop this. All right. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to add a shape. Change the fill color. I want this fill color. Then I'm going to increase the transparency by 5% because I want the picture to be showing. So you have that effect. Then I'll add another shape. Want this to be filled with gray and the shape fill 5% transparency. And next is to add another rounded rectangle. This is going to be for my cards. The fill white, outline, no outline. I'll duplicate that. Duplicate that. Adjust the edge. Then I'm going to add my lines. So this is the first background. I am going to group everything and export, save as picture. For the second slide, I'm going to duplicate what we created, then remove some of the shapes. First of all, group so that I can remove some shapes. Then drag this down since it's just a table that is going to be occupying this particular one. Okay. Then group this as well and save as picture. This is our background too. Save as SVG and save. So we have our two backgrounds. Let's get to Power BI and start developing the report. So we're going to be importing the backgrounds that we created into Power BI. I'll click on Format, Canvas Background, Browse, Picture. The first one is picture 5. This one. Right now you can't see anything. I will reduce the transparency and set image to fit. So we have the first page, then for the second page, browse, 6. So we have our two backgrounds. Now we're going to import our data set. I'll click on Get Data Excel. Our data set is stored in HR Attrition. This is the sheet that we want. Then I'm going to click on Transfer. So you can see that Power BI has actually promoted our headers and changed type. You can go through to be sure that the type that it assigns to each of the columns are befitting for that column. But this data is pretty much clean. And also, if you look at the quality, data quality up here, you find out that we don't really have empty rows and any error showing if you scroll down there. But I'm just going to perform two transformation here. I'm just going to add two columns, add column, conditional column. But before then, I'm going to be adding the first one to job satisfaction. So if you scroll to the end, you have the job satisfaction column. You find out that it's just numbered 1 to 4. If you look at what you have here, when I click on load more, I have 1 to 4, but I want to make these numbers descriptive. And also, when you have distance from home, let me quickly search for that. Go to column, distance from home. So for distance from home, you find out that it's just numbers too, but I want to make it descriptive as well. So we're going to be adding the conditional column. The first one for job satisfaction. So the title of this is going to be job satisfaction category. Column name, job satisfaction. If it is equal to 1, label it as very unsatisfied. Close. If job satisfaction is equal to 2, label it as unsatisfied. Add the next one. If it is equal to 3, label it as satisfied. Else, very unsatisfied. Very satisfied. Okay, so we have our column here. Then the next conditional column is for distance from home. So we are going to label it as distance category. So for the first one, if the distance from home, where is that, is less than or equal to 10, just say that it's nearby. But if it is less than or equal to 20, so that it is far, then else very far. Okay, so we have this here as well. Then I'm going to rename this to just data so as to help us. And finally, we'll close and apply. So we have our data in here. In order to test that the columns that we created are actually what it's supposed to be, we're going to go to job satisfaction column. I'll just select one and check the satisfaction category. You can see that one is actually showing me that they are all very unsatisfied. And go back to job satisfaction. Let me select 4 to validate that. You can see that 4 is very satisfied. Then same thing is applicable for distance from home. So let me just select less than 10 and see the label that it gave it for the distance category nearby. Then also let me select above 20. This is above 20 category, very far. So our tables are, the columns are actually doing what they're supposed to do. The next thing we're going to do is to create a calculated column using DAX. So the first calculated column we are going to create is for age band, and I'm going to paste the DAX here. So this DAX is actually using a switch statement, switch and true function. If the age in the age column is less than or equal to 19, label it as less than or equal to 19. If it is greater than or equal to 20 but less than 29, give it this range, then like that and all. That is that for this first one. The next one is years in company. So I have this here. If the total working years is less than or equal to 0, but it's greater than or equal to 0, but less than or equal to 10, we have 0 to 10 years and all. So that is basically, it's more like the same thing with age band, but we are looking at a different column. So save that. And we have this here. You can also validate this just like I did for others. The next thing we are going to do is to create table for our measures. I'll click on enter data, measures, load. We have the table here. So the first measure we are going to be creating is the total number of employees. If you look at our data, we have the employee number column, which we are going to use for this. If you look at this column down here in the description, you can see that it contains 2,925 rows of data and 2,925 distinct values. So there is no duplicate. What we are going to do is to just count the number of rows here using our DAX. So new measure, total employees is equal to count of the employee number. In order to visualize the total employees, we can just drag that to this part Automatically we have a card. I'll just adjust it and keep it here. Next measure is going to be attrition. For the attrition, we are going to count the number. If you look at the data that we have attrition column, and within this attrition column, we have two categories, yes or no. So, in order to count the number of employees, the attrition itself, we are going to count the number of yeses that we have within this column. So, to do that, we click on the measure part, new measure. So, we are going to be using the calculate function, then count the attrition column, then filter the data for where the attrition column is equal to yes. So that's what this measure is doing. Next one is the attrition rate. I'm going to create that as well. For the attrition rate, we have the measure as this, and we are dividing the attrition measure that we've created by the total number of employees, and the alternative option is zero. Then I will save that. Then under this column one, we don't need this. So we're going to delete this. Now it's time to start building our visualization. So we start with this particular one to fix it. I'm going to format this. I'll click on the colored value. I'll reduce the colored value to 25. Then the label itself to 10. Adjust that. Turn off the background. So the next one we are going to be creating is the active employees. I'll duplicate this. For the active employees, basically, the active employees are the employees with the attrition no, meaning that they are still within the company. So for this, I'm just going to filter using the attrition, drag attrition, then select no. So these are the number of active employees. Then I'm going to edit this. Next, we are going to duplicate this card and to represent just attrition. Remove the filter. And we are going to duplicate this one for the attrition rate. I'm going to change this to percentage. Okay. So the next one is the average age. Copy and paste this. Then I am going to add the age, but this time around we want the average. Then I am going to remove, I did this for the colored value. We don't want decimal places. I'm just going to put 0. 37 is the average age. The next one is the total working years in the company. I'm going to duplicate this. Then type total working years. Get the average as well. Then edit this. Average of working years. Average age. I'm going to adjust all my cards to ensure that they are evenly distributed. Hold down Control key to select all and format, align, distribute horizontally. Then Next is attrition by gender. I'm going to click on attrition, and we're going to be using a donut chart by gender as my legend. So I'm going to format this. The slices, I want this to be more colors. So for the male, I want the male to be this blue. Then for the female, I want it to be orange. Then for the detail labels, I want just the percent of total, and also the legend should be bottom center. Then the title turned off. Let's finish up. For the background, I will turn off the background as well. Next is attrition by distance. So I'm just going to copy this, paste. Then instead of gender, I have distance. Remove gender, distance category. Then I'm going to edit the slices as well. I want the nearby to be the shade of blue. For the title, I want to reduce the title font. I want to reduce them to 12 so that they can be within the particular attachment created for them. Next is attrition by marital status. So I'm going to click on attrition and select a bar chart, marital status. Adjust that. So I'm going to format this. Remove the background. For the y-axis, I don't want the title. For the x-axis, I don't want the value and the title. And I'm going to turn on, for the bars, I want to change the color to the shade of blue to fit our theme. And I'm going to turn on the label. So beneath this, we're going to have the job role. So I'll copy and paste marital status. Then job role. Then beside this, we're going to have the department. Remove marital status and department. And then finally, we're going to have the years, total years of working at the company, the category that we created. So I'm going to remove department, then scroll down to the calculated column that we created. So we have these four categories here. Next is the age band. So for this, we are going to be using a tree map. So I'm going to bring in the age band that we created and attrition by age band. So I'm going to change the colors of this in order to fit our color theme. First, I'm going to turn off the background, and for the colors, I want 30 to 39 to be our major fonts. Finally, down below, we have attrition by job satisfaction. So I'm going to click on attrition and job satisfaction category that we created. So I'm going to be using this job satisfaction category as a legend, and I'm going to use that for a bar chart. Adjust that here. So you can see that it is not actually sorted. So what I'm going to do now is to sort this column by the number. So if we go back to our data, we have our data under the job satisfaction. You have the job satisfaction numbers here. You can see that. Let me clear all filters. You can see the different numbers, and we have our category. So I'm going to click on the job satisfaction category and tell it to sort by the job satisfaction number itself. So when that happens, when you go back to the chart, you can see that it is now sorted from 1 to 4, just like the way it's meant to be. So I'm just going to clean up this color so as to take us to through the color team. I want unsatisfied to be a different shade of blue and the very unsatisfied to be our major color theme. Then satisfied will now be purple. So finally we are going to be adding our department slicer here. So department as a slicer, we're going to be using the new slicer. So I don't want the title, turn that off. And I don't want the background. Then I'm going to add a text box for our title. We want this in white and the size to be 32. Then turn off the background. Let me make the size 28 instead. Adjust it. Now we have our first page of our dashboard. I'm going to name this overview. Then the second page of the dashboard, before then, let's filter to be sure that this is working as it's supposed to. And I click on this. I don't want department to be filtered. I want department to always show everything, the three. So I'm going to click on format, edit interaction, turn off. Then for my, you can see now that department doesn't filter. Also, I'll quickly edit the font size of the titles of this particular, the font size of these graphs so that they can match that of the pie chart. And job satisfaction 12 as well. Then the next page is the drill through page. So I'm just going to rename this as employee detail. So for this page, it's just going to be a table. Click on this table. Then I'm just going to add the data for the employees. So the first data we're going to add is employee number. Employee number. rename that. Next is the gender, marital status, job role, education, education first and then education field, then distance from company, which is the distance category, then percent of salary hike. I don't want this to be summarized. Then years of working in the company, that is the total working years. I don't want this to be summarized as well. Then years in current role, I don't want this to be summarized. Then years since last promotion. So this can give us more details as to why the person left the company. Then finally, the job satisfaction category that we created earlier. Then I'm going to edit this table, like format it. I want the column header. I want the column header to be bold, semi bold, and the grid. Okay, before then, let me just use my style. Set the style to minimal. Then this color underneath the grid, I want that to change. Under grid, I have border, so I'll change that color to our theme color. So we have the table here, and I'll change the background, turn that off as well. So we have the table. Next thing is to add our title. So I'll just go to overview, copy this title here, attrition details. So since I want this to show me just the attrition details, I'm going to filter this table to only filter for where the attrition is equal to yes. Drag attrition, attrition equal to yes. So I only have those that have left company and not everybody. And the next thing is to make this table my drill through table. I mean, this page, my drill through page. How I will achieve that is I'll click on the page, click on format, page information. Right now it's on standard, so I'm going to change this to drill through. The data I'm going to add here is attrition, so that wherever we have attrition within this report, it can bring us to this employee details. Now you can see that automatically a button has been added here, a back button, when I clicked on the drill through. I'm going to format this button now. The button style, rectangle. The icon, I want the icon to be white so that it will be visible considering our page, and I'm going to increase that. Then the text on the icon, I want the text is to show go back to overview. Since this directory is going to be switching from this page to overview page, so I'm going to change this to white so that it will be visible. Increase the font size to 14. Okay, so this is our directory page. Then if I go to overview page now, whenever I hover, because of the fact that all these graphs are based on attrition, which I added to the drill through page, there is automatically a drill through option here for each and every one of these. You can see that here, drill through to employee. right click, drill through to employee, right click, drill through to employee details. So when you click on that, it will filter based on the particular part of the graph that you clicked on and give you more details regarding that. You can go back. For the fact that I'm on desktop, I'm holding down the control key, but on service, you don't need to hold down the control key. So now that I have my drill through page set up, I'm going to make this page hidden because there's no point having it visible since I can move from this first page to that page. So that is all for this. I am going to publish. So click on publish, save changes. I want this on my workspace. Good. So this is it on my workspace. You can see that there is no employee detail page because I hit the page. And when you right click on each part or even hover, you can see the employee details and you can go to that and get more information. You can go back to overview and that. That is all for this report. Thank you for watching. I have provided the data set in the description if you want to follow along. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.